Hey everyone, Jason here. Today we are going to continue our look at the LEGO Ideas pop-up book. And in this video, we're going to take a closer look at the differences between the finished model and the model that Grant and I originally posted to LEGO Ideas. In addition, we're going to go even further back and also take a look at Grant's original pop-up book model, which started this whole process off. If you are unfamiliar with the history behind the pop-up book set, this was originally entirely Grant's idea. And as he tells it, he's been interested in pop-up books for pretty much his entire life. And as a fan of Lego, I don't think it was that surprising that he would eventually try and build one using Lego pieces as well. And I just happen to have a copy of his original design here, which he posted up to Flickr on November 1st, 2014, which coincidentally happens to be exactly 4 years to the day before the official LEGO Ideas set will be released on November 1st of this year. If we take a closer look at this model, a lot of the ideas he had here have carried through the entire process to the finished set, including the idea of having exposed studs on the inside to add scenery, as well as the idea to be able to swap out different interiors. I only have this castle interior here for this one, but if you look at his original video, he swaps it all out into some kind of science fiction based scene as well. And as you can see, he's using rubber bands to anchor either end of the pop-up scene, which actually works reasonably well, although it does have quite a few reliability issues. And if you're really rough with the model, the scene can flop around a little bit and sometimes take out some of the interior. He's also using one of these old spring-loaded leg minifigs, which sadly Lego does not make anymore. Fast forward about a year, and Grant got in touch with me about fleshing out this idea and helping him develop a model to be submitted to LEGO Ideas. And this was the final model that we came up with, which looks very similar to his original. Obviously, there's a few differences. We came up with this Technic-based anchoring system for the pop-up insert, which was much more reliable than the rubber bands that he was using. We also made the book thicker so that there was 4 studs of space to use on the inside, which allowed us to make the pop-up insert 2 studs wide on either side. It also gave us a little more room for the scenery, so you could build it up a little bit taller without interfering. We also added a clasp on the side to keep the book closed. And throughout the process of it being on LEGO Ideas, I think we came up with 8 interiors for the book, including this cottage, a castle scene, a jungle ruins, a Western-styled building, Humpty Dumpty on his wall, Rapunzel in her tower, a cemetery, and a steampunk structure. All just to show kind of the versatility of this model and what you could do with it. For the cemetery model, I also experimented with a different colored exterior and also adding details to it. Fast forward another couple of years and we finally have the finished LEGO Ideas model. And obviously the biggest differences are in the appearance of the model, with the dark green cover, with the brown decorative elements on the outside. As well, the cottage has been given a nice little makeover, and the Jack and the Beanstalk scene was a completely new addition by the LEGO designer. If we take a look at the frame of the book, it is the exact same size and width as the model that we submitted. And they also retained a lot of the interior studs for adding scenery. But they did remove the interior studs along the spine, which I really liked and used quite often for like a pathway or other decorative element in the interiors I designed. To anchor the pop-up insert, they're using a Technic brick with a hole in it, which allows you to use an external pin connected to the insert itself. And the reason that they can do that is because they have these tiles on the outside of the book, which covers up the hole that you get from that Technic brick on the outside. That is one of the reasons why our original book was tan, because the piece we're using is a 1x2 brick with a pin, this piece here, which actually comes in a very limited number of colors. And the reason we use this is so that we didn't get a hole on the outside of the book, because we weren't using any kind of coverage on the outside. And the biggest difference with the frame of the book is the omission of the clasp that we had in our original model, which I was a bit sad to see go. I really liked it. With the clasp, it really gives you a nice secure feeling when you're picking up and handling the book. If we take a look at the mechanism itself, it hasn't really changed that much, although Wes made a few minor improvements that really improved the reliability of it. For example, he added cheese slopes in the spine here to prevent the scene from being able to be pushed further back, because it really needs to stay at an angle for it to work reliably. And if you take a look at our original model, you can really push the scene back if you're really aggressive with it, which can cause problems with it binding when you're trying to close it. Another difference is that each side of the pop-up insert is 12 studs long, whereas it's only 11 studs long in our original model. And this allows being able to add 2 of these Technic plates with holes in them to be anchored to this axle here, which allows for a much stronger and smoother performance of the mechanism. You do run out of space really quickly inside this book though, and to accommodate the wider inserts, Wes added this window into the spine, which allows this little semicircular protrusion from the hinge plate some room to sit in there when you close the book. Otherwise, it would push out against the inside of the spine and put a lot of stress on the anchor point of the insert. And of course, Wes developed a whole new mechanism for raising and lowering the beanstalk in the Jack and the Beanstalk story. And I think that's about all I wanted to talk about in this video. Next up will be a tutorial on adding the clasp back in, which hopefully I will be able to post in a couple of days. As always, thanks for watching, keep on building, and I'll see you next time.